Hey everybody, Ms. Dietrich. We're taking a look at question number 4. Residents of a small city voted on whether to allow a developer to build a shopping center. The number of votes in favor of the shopping center was 4,400. The number of votes against the shopping center was 17,600. What percent of the voters were in favor of building the shopping center? Now, in class, we talked about how whenever you're confused, you're just going to move forward with the idea of creating a double tape diagram, try to figure out what the labels are, try to figure out what numbers are given in the problem. The top bar, we usually in class have been having that be talking about the percent, and the bottom bar, what in this case, we're talking about votes, so we would label that votes. And they give us these two numbers, and these are both votes. So one of them is for the folks in favor, and the other is for the folks that are against the shopping center. So you want to go back and reread it. The number of votes in favor of the shopping center was this. So we're just going to take that number and put it on the in favor side and just approximate a box that would be, proportionally correct. Now the other number that they give, that's the folks that are against the proposal. So we'll put that in a red box and put this number here. And remember, if you have all of something, we want that would be 100%. Now when we look at what are they asking for, it says what percent of the voters were in favor. So they basically want to know what this is what we're looking for right here. They want to know that as a percent. Now we could also figure this out, but they're not asking for it. Now whenever you're faced with this type of problem, in class we've talked about the idea of setting up a proportion. And when we set up proportion, we've talked about the idea of parts and wholes. Now in the percent world, if you have all of something, you have 100%. We're trying to figure out what this is, right? It's something over 100 for the folks that are in favor. Now, when we look at the numbers that we have here, we have a part. This is a part right here. Why do we know it's a part? Because it's not all of it. We always put the all of it number over here. So that number we're going to put for the part. Now, we do have to figure out the whole. And how would we figure that out? Well, we would add these two numbers together. If we add those two numbers together on the calculator, or even on paper and pencil for that matter, because this is a horrible computation to have to do, we get this number. So the all of it number, the total number of votes is 22,000. Now that's also going to be where we're going to take that all of it number, or that whole is going to be the bottom number in this ratio. So that's 4,400 out of 22,000 for the folks in favor. Now they want this number. They want the percent. Percent means out of 100. So we might consider, we could simplify this ratio. Some folks would like to do that. Cross out, for every zero you have in your numerator, you can cross one out in your denominator. You might like that approach. But if you're afraid you're going to mess up, then it's a good idea to just go ahead with your cross products, especially if you have a calculator. So we're doing this times this. So that's the same as 44 times 1, which is 44. You count how many zeros. You need to add 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So that's going to look like this. The blue cross product would look like that. And then the other cross product would be this times this, 22,000 times P, 22,000 times P. So that would look like this when we write it out. Make sure you're copying this down on your piece of paper. And when we solve equations like this, the opposite of multiply a variable by this number is to divide it by that number. We have to do that on both sides of the equation to keep it balanced. All right, so what happens on this side of the equation? This all cancels out. It equals 1, and when we multiply 1 times P, we will get P. And when we divide this, and remember, if it's easier, for every zero in your numerator, cross one out in your denominator. For every zero in your numerator, cross one out in your denominator. For every zero in your numerator, cross one out in your denominator. So we're really looking at 440 divided by 22. 440 divided by 22. And what do we end up getting? Well, remember, percent, P stands for percent, so we get 20% as our final answer.